What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a client offboarding system on make.com. Let's get started. On Monday, I've created a status on each of our clients and renamed it to client offboarding. I'll create a webhook on make.com that is triggered after the status of one of our clients changes to client offboarding. So here, I'll search for webhooks and then click on custom webhooks. Yeah, I'll click on add, and then I'll rename our webhook right here to client offboarding. Then here I'll click on save. Then I'll copy the link of our webhook and then click on OK. Then on Monday, I'll click on integrate. Then here I'll click on webhooks. Then I would like to send a webhook after the status of one of our clients changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. Then here I'll use another account and paste the URL that we just copied from our webhook. So I'll paste the webhook URL right here. And then on automation, I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. Here it says fail to communicate with the URL provided, but here you can see it run and give us the text right here. So we'll need to return these challenge text here so we can connect our webhook successfully. So we're going to do that using a webhook response. So on webhooks, click on webhook response. Here we'll need to return the challenge text right here. So I'll add two curly braces. And then here I'll write challenge. Here I'll add the text and then click on OK. And then I'll run our webhook again. And on Monday, I'll click on connect. You can see that it ran successfully. I'll delete the webhook response and then create our webhook. So here, I like to send a webhook when our status changes to client offboarding. And then click on create automation. Let us test our webhook if it's working properly. So here, I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to client offboarding. You can see that it ran successfully. And we are getting the specific client whose status we just changed. But unfortunately, we are not getting the rest of their data, like email, phone number, company name, or their first or last name. Now, to get the rest of the information, I'll copy this pulse ID right here. And then here, I'll search for Monday. And then I'll search for the get an item module. And click on get an item. You'll need to create a connection between monday.com and make. Now, to create a connection between make and Monday, click on add. And then here, you can rename your connection right here. You'll add your API key from Monday. To get your API key from Monday, just click on your profile and click on administration, click on connections, then API. And here, you'll find your API token. All you have to do is just copy it, then on make, paste your API key over here. Now, since I had already created a connection, I'm going to close and then choose my connection right here. And then for the ID, I'm going to adopt Pulse ID. And then for our board, I'll choose a design agency as our board and then click on OK. Let us run our module right here by pasting the post ID that we copied from our webhook and click on OK. Now you can see that we are getting the rest of their data like first name, last name, company name, their email, and their phone number over here. Now we can proceed to create our client offboarding automation. On our client offboarding automation, the first thing we can send our client is a client offboarding survey form. This survey form will contain questions that inquires about our services from our clients. On Typeform, I've created a form and renamed it to clients offboarding survey form. So on this form, I've got a series of questions right here. I'll ask our client inquiring about our services. So the first question that we're asking our client is, how satisfied are you with our services? And then they can rate us from 0 to 10. We're also asking them, how likely are you to recommend our services to others? And then here, they'll rate us from 0 to 10. Now, the third question that we're asking our clients is, how well did we communicate throughout the project? And here they can type in their answers. The first question that we're asking our client is there anything else you would like to share about your experience with our services? And they're going to type in their answer right here. And lastly, we're asking them, do you have any suggestions for improving our services? And then they can type in their answers right here. To get this form, we'll need to copy the unique ID of this form first. So here, I'll click on share. And here, I'll copy the unique ID of our form right here. Then back to automation. Here, I'll search for type form and click on get a form. Like we did previously with Monday, you'll need to create a connection between make.com and type form. To do that, just click on add, then rename your connection right here. Then click on save. A new window will be prompted, and then you can choose the account that you'd like to link to make.com. And then by clicking on OK, your connection will have been created right here. But since I had already created a connection, I'm going to close and choose my connection right here. After choosing my connection, I'm going to paste the unique ID that we just copied right here. So this is a unique ID we just copied, and click on OK. So we can run this module and see if we're going to get our form. So you can see we're getting our client offboarding survey form with the link of the form, which is this link right here, that we're going to send to our clients for them to give us feedback of our services. So here we can rename this to client survey form and click on OK. The next thing that we can send to our client as we offboard them is a project wrap-up document. You can create a project wrap-up document using a Google Docs or PandaDoc. In my case, I'm using PandaDoc. So on PandaDoc, I've created this document right here that I've renamed to project wrap-up document. The project contains an overview of the project, deliverable summary, project outcomes, next steps, final sign-off and transition, final words, and sign-off. And here's where we can add our signature, and the client can add their signature right here. So this is a project wrap-up document that I will send to our client. To get this document, I'm going to copy the unique ID of this document from our URL, like we did with Typeform. Now, the ID of this document, we'll find it on our URL. So on our URL right here, you'll copy this unique ID. After copying the unique ID, on make, here, I'm going to search for PandaDoc, and then here, I'm going to get our document. Here, you'll need to also create a connection between PandaDoc and make.com just by clicking on add and renaming your connection right here. Then you click on save. A new window will be prompted, and where you'll choose the account that you like to link to make.com. But since I'd already created a connection, I'm going to close and paste the unique ID that we just copied from the URL of our document on PandaDoc. So this is a unique ID. So I'm going to click on OK and then run this module to see if we're going to get our document. So here you can see that we are getting our project wrap-up document. That's awesome. So here we can rename this module to project wrap-up doc. Click on OK. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to download this document. So on PandaDoc, I'll search for download the document module. And then for the document ID, we're going to add the document ID of our document and click on OK. So here we're going to download our document. So I'll rename this to download project wrap-up doc. Click on OK. The next thing we can send to our client is a scheduling link for them to schedule for a closing call. Now here, I'll search for Calendly and then click on Calendly. Then on Calendly, I'll create a scheduling link. Here also you can create a connection between Calendly and make.com. And after creating a connection, you can choose your maximum event count. You can say 1. And then here we can choose an event type. In this case, I'm going to use closing call as our event type. And then click on OK. So here I'll rename this to schedule a closing call and click on OK. And lastly, we can send our client a final billing invoice. If they have an outstanding amount that they need to pay, we can create an invoice and send it to them for them to make the payment. I'll use Stripe as our payment provider. So I'll search for Stripe, click on Stripe. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to search for our customer. So I'll click on search customer module. And here we're going to search using their email. So we're going to get their email address from Monday. So here I'll add the email address right here. And we can choose to limit it to 1 instead of 100. Then click on OK. Then after searching for a customer, we're going to create a payment intent. So here I'll click on create a payment intent. Here we can add the amount. Let's say we're charging them $2,000. Here, one thing you need to note is that the amount that you add right here is in cents. You'll need to add 2 extra zeros to convert this amount into dollars. So the 200,000 right here in this case represents $2,000. Then here we can add our currency. We're using USD as our currency. You can add the description right here, say web design services or automation services. You can add the recipient email. You can add the email from Monday. And you can choose the payment and method types right here. You can add the customer ID from our search customer module, choose the payment method. You can add also the shipping address right here. I'm going to leave it as is and click on OK. And now we can proceed to create an invoice on Stripe. On Stripe, I'm going to search for invoice and click on create an invoice. To create our invoice, we'll first of all need to add our customer ID right here. So the customer ID, we're going to get it from our search customer module. So add our customer ID. And then here you can choose a collection method, either if you would like to charge automatically or send an invoice. Now, if you like to send an invoice, you'll need to add days until the invoice is due. So you can say, let's say 3 days. You can also add the due date right here. You can add the description like we did previously and say, let's say, and we can say, for example, web design services. Here you can add a subscription ID, but I'm going to choose to leave it as is and then click on OK. We can rename our module to final billing invoice and then click on OK. Now, we can proceed to send our client a survey form, project wrap-up doc, a scheduling link, and the final billing invoice via email. So here, I'll search for email and then click on send an email module. Now here, I'll rename this module to offboarding email. Then click on OK. For our email address, we're going to add our email address of our client from Monday. So we'll add our email address right here. And then the subject line of our email could be in the lines of wrap up of our engagement, final steps, and feedback requests. And then the content of the email that we are sending to our client could be on the lines of dear first name, and then we're going to add the first name of our client. And then the rest of the email could be on the lines of, as we come to the end of our project, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to work together. It's been a pleasure collaborating with you and your team. To wrap up our engagement, please find the following key details. The first thing that we're sending them is a client satisfaction survey form. And we're saying, your feedback is invaluable to us. We'd greatly appreciate it if you could take a few minutes to complete this brief survey. Your insights will help us improve and continue to deliver the best possible service. And here we can add the link to our survey form, which is this link right here. The second document that we're sending them is a project wrap-up document. And then on the email, we're saying, attached is a comprehensive summary of the work we've completed together, including all the final deliverables. Should you have any questions or require further clarifications, feel free to reach out. And here we can add the link of our document. So we're going to add the file name of our document after we've downloaded it. And the third link that we're sending to our client is scheduling a follow-up call or a closing call link. And then on the email, we're saying, I'd love to stay in touch and check in on how things progress. Please use this link to schedule a follow-up call at your convenience in the next few months. Here we're adding the link for them to schedule for a follow-up call. And the last link that we're sending them is the link to the invoice for the final billing. And we're saying, attach the final invoice for our engagement. Please feel free to review. If you have any questions, I'm happy to discuss. The due date of this invoice is, and then we are adding the due date here. Our due date, we're going to find our due date from our create an invoice module. And here, we're going to add our due date, which is this due date right here. And then we can add the invoice link, which is this link right here. And then the last thing that we're telling them is thank you and next steps. Then we're saying, once again, thank you for trusting us with this project. Should any further need arise, I'd be more than happy to assist you again in the future. Please do not hesitate to get in touch anytime. Looking forward to hearing from you soon and wishing you all the best. Warm regards, Dennis at Lux Design Agency. Then click on OK. Now, let us test if automation works perfectly. To test our automation, I'll run our automation. And then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to client offboarding. Here, you can see that our automation worked perfectly. We triggered our webhook after we changed the status of one of our clients to client offboarding. And we got their data right here. We got our survey form that we created on Typeform. And we got our project wrap-up document that we created on PandaDoc. We downloaded it. We created a scheduling link on Calendly. And we also created an invoice right here on automation. On this offboarding email, we are sending the client the survey form, the project wrap-up document, the scheduling link for a closing call, and the final billing invoice. This is the email that we are sending to our client here. So we have the client satisfaction survey. This is a link to the survey, the project wrap-up document. And this is a project wrap-up document that we created on PandaDoc. Here we have our calendar link that we're sending to our client for them to schedule for a follow-up or a closing call. And we're sending all these documents to our client via this email right here. This is a simple client offboarding automation that you can create right now on make.com and automate the client offboarding process in your business or agency. Now, if you have an automation or a system in mind that you'd like for me to create, just comment down below in the comment section. I read all the comments, and if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to create the entire automation or system from scratch. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.